Hi, I'm Pagra12 and today we play with particles and we build trees out of them. I got this idea from those wire trees, and since we have no wires here, I thought, what if I feedback a particle, then I get that wire. And so we need to build a particle system and have a couple of particles starting from the bottom of the screen, and they go up, and we have a timer, and we split half of them, and then after a while split again, and so on, hoping for a tree. So we build this network from scratch, but the purple side, which is a trick for adding shading, and this I cover in details in my last tutorial, custom particle system. This file will be available for my patterns, and so that will come with this addition. So let's start this from scratch. I have this network aside to guide me. Okay, what we need, a constant chop, and let's set the resolution 1280. Okay, let's go with branches, meaning how many wires we need, how many tips we have in the end. So let's go with power of 2, since we use split in a feedback. So also the radius, let's go with 1 divided by 64. Speed, let's go with 1, and the timer for our splitting clock. So let's go with 1 divided by 256. Okay. Okay, we good. Now let's have a null here. Insert a null. Collapse selected. Now we don't need this end null, and name this folder data. Okay. I'll have this black, and let's go inside. And since we know how many branches, let's select the branches. Rename this into splits, and now we use feedback, not feedback function, sorry. Okay, and we go with log n base 2, and yeah, for 16 branches, 16 wires, we need 4 splits. So merge, and I need 2 more things here. First, it's a keyboard in reset. So keyboard in, then I'll have rename into reset, and I want each tree being different, so we will use noise. So let's build a custom seed. So first let's insert here a trigger to solve, let me show you, to solve the long one press, you see, and we do this with a trigger and set all those values to 0, but the peak level, it stays to 1. Okay, now we use count. We rename this into seed, and we're good to go. Okay, now let's have a single pixel with a constant top, like this, and the value is 0.5 for the red, 0, 0. Blue doesn't really matter, as we go with 32 RG. And now we have here a point in the middle of the x-axis at the bottom of 0, 1, which will be our screen as we render this region. So view as an image. Now, if we need 16 branches, obviously we need 16 points, 16 particles. So we can do this with fit, or let's try with group. Okay, let's open this here. And we use branches, group right. Okay, now we use a feedback. And add. And we want to build an addition of a vector, up vector, right? So let's change this. First, let's set the resolution to 1 by 1. Okay, let's use the reset for the feedback. Okay, we good. And we drag the add here. Also, this one, it's 1 by 1. And for the up vector, we go with 0, 1, like this. And we can't add one length long vector. So we use mod here. And let's multiply this with 1 divided by the resolution. Okay, and we also multiply this with the speed. Okay. Now we go here, and yeah, the drag, it's the add top, it's already here. So you see the color is getting orange and then green as the point it's travel upwards. Okay. Now let's use here null, and we name this position. Let's have this pink, right? And now with circle SOP. Okay. Let's use the radius here. Okay, maybe 32. We go into a geometry. We also need a camera. This camera is orthographic, bottom left, and 1, a render. It takes the resolution, and this is 32 RGBA. Okay, let's make the camera and the geo black. Okay, now for the geo, I'll go with instancing, and I'll drag the position texture and go with RG, not so RG. Okay, and let's see the output. We have a null, left and right. Okay, top viewer. Okay, now let's reset. We should see the circle. Let's use a constant like this. So, okay. Now, obviously, we'll use a feedback here in a moment. Would be nice somewhere here to have that split. Okay. So for that we use here, we make some space in between, and we use a feedback. Let's have this black. Also use the reset here, and this feedback goes into mate. Okay. And yeah, let's have first 2 inputs like this. And here in a top one, on a top line, we insert a null and then collapse selected, and we form a folder, and we name this folder splitter. Okay. And for the last input, we need something as a trigger. Okay, so yeah, we will build something custom. So for now we use a null collapse selected. Let's go inside and use an out. Okay. And name this trigger. Okay. Now we drag the mate into the feedback, and don't forget, for the mate, go with luminance. Okay. Nothing happened, as we don't have the splitter yet, and also there's no trigger. But this mate works like this. Every time some pixel here in this trigger area it gets white, then the mate will change that input for that pixel from the feedback to the splitter. Okay, so it switch input 2 and 1 every time it gets the trigger here. Okay, so let's build something for the trigger. Okay, now we use a constant 1 pixel by 1 pixel. This is 32 mono. Okay, and here we drag the timer value. Okay, now don't worry, the blue color, this should be 0 0, so it's almost black. Okay, so we want to always add this little value to be our timer step. Okay, so let's use this add. Okay, now I would like to have a feedback and also some texture to initiate the feedback with 0. This one is good. Feedback. Let's drag the reset. Okay, and yeah, we go like this. We drag the add into the target top, and now this texture is getting white and white and white. Obviously, if you add this little timer, you will pass 1, and I would like to have again that timer when it reach 1 to start from 0 and so on. And for this we need another mate, and let's use one. Again, this should be on luminance like this, and actually the feedback goes into the second input, and in the first input we need 0. Okay, because when it reach 1, start from 0. So I have a trigger. When the value gets to 1, the trigger it's white and it starts to 0 again. So we better connect this texture. Okay, so I will lift this a little bit up to see, or if you want, I prefer sometimes this type of okay, because this is much clearer what goes into the mate now. And let's have a trigger which will judge the value, and only when it pass 1, okay, will be white. So for that, let's use a null here and connect this here, collapse selected, and this is a trigger also. So but to not confuse the trigger above, in a folder above, I would say 1. So it reached 1, it starts from 0 again. Let's go inside here. We need to check this value and act only when this value it's over 1. So I will use a math here, and I subtract -1, and I go ceiling. Okay, and now I go with limit and clamp everything in between 0 1, as I want to be sure this texture is only 0 or 1, what I need for my trigger. Okay, so now as I have my trigger, let's connect in this out. Okay, now if we press 1, let's see, after a while we have the first trigger. Okay, now we have to take care on this splitter. So let me show you how do we split this vector. Okay, now the question is, do we need to split a vector in equally angles? And I would say for that we need more math than splitting a vector randomly. Okay, and let's do that. How we split a vector randomly? Imagine we have this vector and we use a noise and we connect both of the inputs, and that noise will act like this. Okay, so in one moment could be here, and imagine a line from this red dot to my hand, right? This would be one of the vectors. And don't worry if it's shorter. That means one branch will grow slower, which is actually nice. And also, the trees doesn't know math or precise angles or trigonometry or stuff like that. So using noise is also nice for the output. Okay. Now imagine we have this vector which is a little bit shorter. Let's say I will try it like this, right? And now I want to mirror this point here. So I will have a point here, and this would be the other vector. I will use this pen, right? So instead of the green one, we have two which are different, like branches in a tree. So, okay, let's build this. So we need a noise here. Okay, connect both of the inputs. Okay, and now subtract. Okay. And for this noise, is not monochrome. Let's go with amplitude 1 divided by 3. And let's use the seed we have here. Okay. Now, remember that noisy point needs multiplication with -1 to get the second point, the branches, right? And so we need a texture with 1 and -1. And we build one starting from a ramp, and eventually we get into 0, 1, and we stay there. We arrange things into on 0, 1 texture, and then we rearrange into 1, -1. Okay, so let's do that. We use a ramp. Okay, this ramp is 32 mono. Okay, and let's go with matte. Oh, sorry. So matte and with round. Okay, now let's make this nearest pixels. Okay, this is how the texture will look for the first split. Okay, and some of you using Apple, you might not get precise results using matte round, and there is also threshold doing the same thing. Okay, and you can do matte. And since you know the ramp 0, 1 for the input, you can subtract 0.5 and go ceiling. And yeah, you might need to limit this with clamp 0, 1. And yeah, there are many ways to build this. Okay, And how this texture should look on the second split is like this. So transform, and we need to transform 1 divided by 2 with repeat here. Okay. And on the next split, the texture should look like 1 divided by 4 and by 8 and so on. Okay. Now we need this sequence of numbers and then we can use a math. Okay, we rearrange this 0, 1, it's getting minus 1, 1. Okay. We multiply this texture with this subtract and we add above the input points. Okay. And now we have a bunch of splitting vectors. Now, one thing I suggest you take care is making everything nearest pixels. Okay. Now, yeah. So let's go with nearest pixels on everything. Okay. And let's reset now and see what's happened. So we have 2 points now. And now, yeah, they stay only 2. Yeah, there are only 2 colors here, and yeah, the color is changing strange. But remember, on this transform, we don't have actually the right value here. It looked like 1 divided by 2, 4, 8, and so on. Let's have that, right? So let's go here inside, and I want to count how many splits I did. So I use an add, and I want to get into a feedback again. So this is nice. Add here and drag the add 2 into the feedback 2. Okay, and now here we have the count for how many splits, and let's use here a function with exponent 2. Okay, and now let's check this value if it's good for us. Okay, so it's 1632, and yeah, there will be 64 soon. Yeah, this is perfect. Let's split the screen. Let me drag this. Okay, and now here I want to take this, let's rename transform. Okay, and yeah, let's drag it here, and I'll go with 1 divided by. Okay. Okay. So now let's see. First split, second split. This is good. Yeah, it's good. Now we can use a feedback here right now, but the branches would be very thick. So feedback. Let's use this reset and set the opacity to 1. Okay, and now as you see, the tree is terrible thick. Okay, now we need something to work for the scale. Okay, so let's use a ramp. Let's use a ramp. Okay, and go with branches here and 1. Okay, now I want to give a separate scale for the branches, and so one is thicker, one is thinner, and so on. It depends. And I name this scale, but I have to multiply with something that it's getting smaller and smaller as I going close to the tip. Okay, so let's go here in this folder here, and let's limit this addition counting for the splits. Okay, let's limit this to how many splits we have. So not quantize, instead we clamp this. Minimum value is 0, maximum value is how many splits we have. Okay, and now I use let me check, please. Yeah, I use a mat and rearrange 0 and the splits. Okay, and yeah, let's see, 0 1, it's getting now it's not 0 1, it's 0 4, right? And I remap this, rearrange this into 1, and I don't want 0 as the last branches would be invisible. Okay, so yeah, let's go with 1 divided by how many splits. Okay, and this goes into out 2. Okay, but yeah, actually, you know what, it's out 3. Okay, because here for the out 2 we need to do something else in a moment. Okay, so I need to multiply the third output, okay, with my ramp, and don't forget nearest pixels. Okay, and now let's reset. Now we start with this size. Oh, we don't use them. Okay, so in geo instance scale, and I use R for both, and reset again. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, they are coming. They are getting thinner and thinner, and this is good. Okay, now yeah, let's use some colors. Or you see now we get some the splits are gone. We reach the maximum number of splits, but there's nothing telling to the particles to stop. Okay, so we don't have a 0 going into that feedback engine. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, right here I have this function which goes really high, but I want to use a mod here to check when it reached the maximum number of branches, right? So I subtract the branches like this, and I ceiling. Okay, now I can use a level, and I go invert, and now when I reach the maximum number of branches, I have in this out 2, I have 0. So now I can go multiply with this. Okay, don't forget nearest pixels. Okay, and now let's go in this mod. Okay, and let's reset again, and now the tree yeah will stop. And in the meantime we take care of the colors, so we use a noise. Okay, and yeah, don't worry, we'll solve the speed for the splits. So the later splits would come very fast. Okay, we take care for that. So let's set this noise for the colors. Okay, and this is 32 RGB and not monochrome. Okay, and we go into null, we name these colors and we use it here for the colors R, G and B. Okay, let's reset now. We have colors. Let's put here RGB key to have a black background like this. Okay, we don't need this anymore. So now you see we need to fasten up the timer once it gets more splits, and let's do that. So let's use a select. We copy paste this one, but we take this limit, okay, and we multiply this limit with our timer, okay. This limit, this select will get bigger and bigger, right? And we multiply with a step, so the step will become bigger, so the timer will be shorter. We add here and we connect like this. Okay. And now let's reset now and see our tree. Now the speedy is good, but I would like the tree being a little bit bigger, okay? And what I can do, because yeah, we have two speeds kind of, right? One is timer, okay? Now I can say this is I don't know, 1 to 8. Let's see what happened. It will be shorter. The tree will be shorter. Okay, so yeah, it's not good. And it might be longer because now I doubled the timer. But what I like to do in those cases is I use power of two numbers. I like to do like this. So if my number is not actually the good enough and the double of it, it's too big, maybe I use 256. Sorry about that. 256. Oh. Plus half of it. Okay. So this, and yeah, it's a matter of fine tuning, or if you want this being a little bit more advanced, you can make a function and yeah, the timer would be according with some other parameters. Okay, now yeah, so this is how I build the tree. Let's set the speed to 0. If you set the speed to 0, the speed will increase, and this can affect the point of the splitter. Okay, so yeah, not necessarily recommended if you don't want to fine tune this. Let's go with a big amount here. So I would say not like this, but yeah, I believe 14, 15, yeah, the maximum. And yeah, please notice this resolution exceed the limit for the non-commercial version, and so the maximum amount of branches would be 1280 for in this case. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, if I want to have the splitter much lower, I need a bigger value for my timer. And so let's try that for a bigger. Obviously 256 would be enough in this case. Let's see. Yeah, and you can play with colors, with angles, how big you noise. Okay, because here you can go crazy with the noise. And yeah, it's maybe 32,000. It's anyway too much maybe, but yeah. Yeah, this works nice. And also it's a relation between the noise and the texture, size, and so on. You have to play with this. So yeah, this was my tutorial. I really hope you like this. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, you can support me on Patreon, and you'll get access to a bunch of other tutorials on particles, on many other topics. And I want to thanks to all my Patreon. See you in the next one. Bye.